Hi, welcome back everybody. My name is CJ, and I've got, I was gonna say two, but it's actually three. Uh, Bit of a, uh, not advice, bits of news, the things. Siege J, the brand, handle, thing, moniker I've gone with for my YouTube channel and for everything else. I have decided to make more streamlined, and it's now Siege, like Siege Weapon, with just the letter J, and I like it more. And reasons being is J is the name of the guy who crashed a business on me years ago, put me in tons of debt. No one needs to hear that story. It's just that I just hated seeing it. Or even worse, sometimes people would pick J to call me over Siege, and suddenly I got really triggered. So I didn't really want to deal with that. I didn't go off on anybody, but I just don't want to hear that. So Siege, letter J, and TV for like Twitch, YouTube. So now all of my handles are the same, Siege J TV, and it looks really cool. I think it looks a lot more official than just the Siege J, and also it was, I don't know why, but it did when you visually saw it, it didn't seem to roll off the tongue very nicely. Siege J, it felt like you're stuttering a little bit, and for some reason Siege JTV rolls off a lot nicer, and I have no idea why. But, you know, that's one big update. Second big update, this one's really dumb. I got a new wallet, this thingy. This is the Frenchy Co. Speed Wallet, the carbon fiber one. Why carbon fiber? I don't know, really. I've had leather wallets in the past, and they last me a good decent amount of time, but they always break down. And hoping the carbon fiber will last a little bit longer, but also it's sleek and matches my keys, which have the carbon fiber carbo cage, which is irrelevant to what I was about to say, but it's just like a flip out sort of thing to hold all the keys. But it too is carbon fiber, so it matches, and I thought that was neat. But one of the things that are really cool about this is, one, it's just fast to get to the money, and two, it's really fast to get to the cards. It's just a silly pull tab sort of feature, but it's amazing and very gimmicky, but super cool when you're going up and you're gonna make your purchase. And you're just like, yeah. So there you go. That is one of my updates. Is a silly wallet, and then another one is we are going into the Iliad and the Odyssey. And this is a doozy. I would love to say I'm excited, because I am, but I also know this is going to be an enormously long series, much longer than the Epic of Gilgamesh, which, as a size comparison, itty bitty Bogenberfer. So we've got an enormous book ahead of us. So there is an introduction that I shall be skipping, but I will not be skipping. No, I will be skipping the preface and the introduction, and we will go into book 1, which is only 15 pages long, but by the time we get to the end of it, I believe book 2 is significantly longer. Yeah, well, close anyways. By the time we get to the end of it, with how much I've been already talking already, our time is going to basically be up. So let's begin. Book 1. Agamemnon is compelled to restore the captive girl, Chryses? Oh, by the way, my pronunciation is probably not going to be the greatest with this, and I have to admit that even though I believe we read this in school, I was notorious for not doing schoolwork, and I didn't read it back then. Not in a way that I absorbed in any shape or fashion, so this is pretty much going to be me actually reading it for the first time, so but Chryses, right? Chryses. Chryses. To her father, I'll look it up after this, but in retaliation takes from Achilles the lovely Chryses. Again, I'm saying that right. Achilles, enraged, vows he will fight no more for Agamemnon, and through his mother, the sea nymph Thetis, secures the aid of Zeus for the Trojans. This provokes the wrath of the goddess Hera. Sing, O goddess, the anger of Achilles, son of Peleus, that brought countless ills upon the Achaeans. Many a brave soul did it send hurrying down to Hades, and many a hero did it yield. It would be great if I could speak. I should do like some vocal exercises before I begin these. Pray to dogs and vultures, for so were the counsels of Zeus fulfilled from the day on which the son of Atreus, king of men, and great Achilles first fell out with one another. And which of the gods was it that set them on to quarrel? It was the son of Zeus and Leto, for he was angry with the king, and sent a pestilence upon the host to plague the people. Because the son of Atreus had dishonored Chryses. We are now missing an I that was there before. Chryses? His priest. Now Chryses had come to the ships of the Achaeans to free his daughter. So, her father's name is Chryses and she is Chryses. Free his daughter had bought with him a great ransom. Moreover, he bore in his hand the scepter of Apollo, wreathed with a suppliant's wreath. And he brought the Achaeans, but most of all, the two sons of Atreus, who were their chiefs. Sons of Atreus, he cried, and all other Achaeans, may the gods who dwell in Olympus grant you to sack the city of Priam, and to reach your home safely, but free my daughter and accept a ransom for her, in reverence to Apollo, son of Zeus. On this the rest of it, the Achaeans with one voice were for respecting the priest, and taking the ransom that he offered, but not so Agamemnon, who spoke fiercely to him, and sent him roughly away. Old man, he said, let me not find you tearing about our ships, nor yet coming hereafter. Your scepter of the god and your wreath shall profit you nothing. I will not free her. She shall grow old in my house, at Argos far from her home, busying herself with her loom and visiting my couch. Damn. So go, do not provoke me, or it shall be the worse for you. The old man feared him and obeyed. After all that journey and all that buffery, not a word he spoke, but went by the shore of the sounding sea and prayed apart to King Apollo, whom lovely Leto had borne. Hear me, he cried, O god of silver, of the silver bow. The protectest Chryses. There's like 3 different spellings on this. And holy Scylla, the rulest Tenedos, with thy might, hear me, O thou smith. If I ever decked your temple with garlands, or burned your thigh bones in fat of bulls or goats, grant my prayer and let your arrows avenge these tears upon the Danaans. Thus did he pray, and Apollo heard his prayer. He came down furious from the summits of Olympus, with his bow and his quiver upon his shoulder, and the arrows rattled on his back with the rage that trembled within him. He sat himself down, away from the ships, with a face as dark as night, and his silver bow rang death as he shot his arrow in the midst of them. First he smote their mules and their hounds, but presently he aimed his shafts at the people themselves, and all day long the pyres of the dead were burning. For 9 whole days he shot his arrows among the people, but upon the 10th day Achilles called them to an assembly, moved thereto by Hera, who saw the Achaeans in their death throes, and had compassion upon them. Then, when they were got together, he spoke among them. Son of Atreus, he said, I deem that we should now turn roving home, if we would escape destruction, for we are being cut down by war and pestilence at once. Let us ask some priest or prophet, or some reader of dreams, for dreams too are of Zeus, who can tell us why Phoebus Apollo is so angry, and say whether it is for some vow that we have broken, or hecatomb that we have not offered, and whether he will accept savor of lambs and goats without blemish, so as to take away this plague from us. With these words he sat down, and Calchas, son of Thestor, wisest of the augurs, who knew things past and present and to come, rose and spoke. He it was who had guided the Achaeans with their fleet to Ilium, through the prophecies with which Phoebus Apollo had inspired him. With all sincerity, in all good he addressed them thus. Achilles, loved of heaven, you bid me to tell you about the anger of King Apollo. I will therefore do so, but consider first and swear that you will stand by me heartily, in word and deed. For I know that I shall offend one who rules that the Argives with might, and to whom all the Achaeans are in subjection. A plain man cannot stand against the anger of a king who, if he swallow his displeasure now, will yet nurse revenge till he has wreaked it. Consider, therefore, whether or not you will protect me. And Achilles answered, Fear not, but speak as it is borne upon you from heaven. For by Apollo, Calchas, to whom you pray, and whose oracles you reveal to us, not a Danaan at our ships shall lay his hand upon you, while I yet live and look upon the face of this earth. No, not though you name Agamemnon himself, who is by far the foremost of the Achaeans. Therion the seer spoke boldly. The god, he said, is angry neither about vow nor hecatomb, but for his priest's sake, who Agamemnon dishonored, in that he would not free his daughter, nor take a ransom for her. Therefore he has sent these evils upon us, and will send yet others. He will not deliver the Danaans from this pestilence till Agamemnon has restored the girl without fee or ransom to her father, and has set holy hecatomb to Chryse. Thus we may perhaps appease him. With these words he sat down, and Agamemnon rose in anger. His heart was black with rage, and his eyes flashed fire as he scowled on Calchas and said, Seer of evil, you never yet prophesied smooth things concerning me, but have ever loved to foretell that which was evil. You have brought me neither comfort nor performance, and now you come seeing among the Danaans, and saying that Apollo has plagued us, because I will not take a ransom for this girl, the daughter of Chryses. I have set my heart on keeping her in my own house, for I love her better than I love my own wife. What is that name? Clytemnestra? Whose peer is alike in form and feature, in understanding and accomplishments. Still I will give her up if I must, for I would have the people live, not die. But you must find me a prize instead, for I alone among the Argives shall be without one. This is not well, for you behold, all of you, that my prize is to go else whither. And Achilles answered, Most noble son of Atreus, covetous beyond all mankind, how shall the Archaeans find you another prize? We have no common store from which to take one. Those we took from the cities have been awarded. We cannot disallow the awards that have already been made. Give this girl, therefore, to the god, and if ever Zeus grants us to sack the city of Troy, we will requite you 3 and 4-fold. Then Agamemnon said, Achilles, valiant though you may be, you shall not thus outwit me. You shall not outreach, and you shall not persuade me. Are you to keep your own prize, while I sit tamely under my loss and give up the girl at your bidding? Let the Archaeans find me a prize in fair exchange for my liking, or I will come take your own, or that of Ajax or Odysseus. And he to whomever I may come shall rue my coming. But of this we will take thought hereafter. For the present, let us draw the ship to the sea, and find a crew for her expressly. Let us put a hecatomb on board, and let us send Chrysis also. Further, let some chief man among us be in command, either Ajax or Idomeneus, or yourself, son of Peleus, mighty warrior that you are, that we may offer sacrifice and appease the anger of the god. Achilles scowled at him and answered, You are steeped in insolence and lust of gain. With what heart can any of the Achaeans do your bidding, either on the foray or in open fighting? I came not warring here for any ill the Trojans had done me. I have no quarrel with them. They have not raided my cattle nor my horses, or cut down any of my harvests on the rich plains of Thea. For between me and them there is great space, both mountain and sounding sea. We have followed you, Sir Insolence, for your pleasure, not ours, to gain satisfaction from the Trojans for your shameless self and for Menelaus. You forget this, and threaten to rob me of the prize from which I have toiled, and which of the sons of Archaeans have given me. Never when the Achaeans sack any rich city of the Trojans do I receive a good prize as you do, though it is my hands that do the better part of the fighting. When the sharing comes, your share is far the largest, and I, forsooth, must go back to my ships, take what I can get, and be thankful when my labor of fighting is done. Now therefore I shall go back to Thea. It will be much better for me to return home with my ships, for I will not stay here dishonored to gather gold and substance for you. And Agamemnon answered, Fly if you will. I shall make you no prayers to stay you. I have others here who will do me honor. And above all, Zeus, the Lord of Consul, there is no king here so hateful to me as you are, for you are ever quarrelsome and ill-affected. What though you be brave? Was it not heaven that made you so? Go home then, with your ships and comrades, to lord over the Myrmidons. I care neither for you nor your anger, and thus I will do. Since Phoebus Apollo is taking Chrysis from me, I shall send her with my ship and my followers. But I shall come to your tent and take your own prize, Briseis, that you may learn how much stronger I am than you are, and that another may fear to set himself up as equal or comparable to me. The son of Peleus was furious, and his heart within his shaggy breast was divided, whether to draw his sword, push the others aside, and kill the son of Atreus, or to restrain himself and check his anger. While he was thus in two minds, and was drawing his mighty sword from its scabbard, Athene came down from heaven, Athena, for Hera had sent her in the love she bore for them both, and seized the son of Peleus by his yellow hair, visible to him alone, for of the others no man could see her. Achilles turned in amaze, and by the fire that flashed in her eyes, he knew that she was Athena. Why are you here? said he, daughter of Aegisbearing Zeus. To see the pride of Agamemnon, son of Atreus? Let me tell you, and it shall surely be. He shall pay for this insolence with his life. And Athena said, oh boy, goddess voice. I can only do like one female voice. And that wasn't it. I come from heaven. God, this is terrible. If you will hear me to bid you stay your anger, Hera has sent me, who cares for both of you alike. Cease then this brawling, and do not draw your sword. Rail at him if you will, and your railing will not be in vain. For I tell you, and it shall surely be, that you shall hereafter receive gifts 3 times as splendid by reason of this present insult. Hold therefore and obey. Goddess, answered Achilles, whoever angry a man may be, he must do as you command him. This will be best, for the gods ever hear the prayers of him who has obeyed them. He stayed his hand on the silver hilt of his sword, and thrust it back into the scabbard as Athena bade him. Then she went back to Olympus among the other gods, to the house of the Aegis-bearing Zeus. But the son of Peleus again began railing at the son of Atreus, for he was still in rage. Winebibber, he cried, with the face of a dog and the heart of a hind, you never dare to go out with a host and fight, nor yet with our chosen men in ambuscade. You shun this, as you do death itself. You had rather go round and rob his prizes from any man who contradicts you. You devour your people, for you are a king over feeble folk. Otherwise, son of Atreus, henceforward you would insult no man. Therefore I say, and swear it with great oath, nay, by the scepter, which shall sprout neither leaf nor shoot, nor bud anew for the day on which its parent stem upon the mountains left its parent stem upon the mountains. For the axe stripped it of leaf and bark, and now the sons of Achaeans bear it as judges and guardians of the decrees of heaven. So surely and solemnly do I swear that hereafter they shall look fondly for Achilles, and shall not find him. In the day of your distress, when your men fall dying by the murderous hand of Hector, you shall not know how to help them, and shall rend your heart with rage for the hour when you offered insult to the bravest of the Achaeans. With this, the son of Peleus dashed his gold-bestudded scepter on the ground and took his seat, while the son of Atreus was beginning fiercely from his place upon the other side. The uprose smooth-tongued Nestor. Then uprose the facile speaker of the Pylians, and the words fell from his lips sweeter than honey. 2 generations of men born and bred in Pylos had passed away under his rule, and he was now reigning over the 3rd. With all sincerity and goodwill, therefore, he addressed them thus. Of a truth, he said, a great sorrow has befallen the Achaean land. Surely Priam with his sons would rejoice, and the Trojans be glad at heart if they could hear this quarrel between you two, who are so excellent in fight and counsel. I am older than either of you, therefore be guided by me. Moreover, I have been the familiar friend of men even greater than you are, and they did not disregard my counsels. Never again can I behold such men as Pirithous, Andreas, shepherd of his people, or as Caeneus, Exadius, godlike Polyphemus, and Theseus, son of Aegis, peer of the immortals. These were the mightiest men ever born upon this earth. Mightiest were they. When they fought the fiercest tribes of mountain savages, they utterly overthrew them. I came from distant Pylos, and went out among them, for they would have me come, and I fought as it was in me to do. Not a man now living could withstand them, but they heard my words, and were persuaded by them. So be it also with yourselves, for this is the more excellent way. Therefore, Agamemnon, though you are strong, take not this girl away. For the sons of Achaeans have already given her to Achilles and you. Achilles, strive not further with the king, for no man who by the grace of Zeus wields a scepter has like honor with Agamemnon. You are strong and have a goddess for your mother, but Agamemnon is stronger than you, for he has more people under him. Son of Atreus, check your anger, I implore you, and end this quarrel with Achilles, who in the day of battle is a tower of strength to the Achaeans. And Agamemnon answered, Sir, all that you have said is true, but this fellow needs to become our lord and master. He must be lord of all, king of all, captain of all, and this shall hardly be. Granted that the gods have made him a great warrior. Have they also given him the right to speak with railing? Achilles interrupted him. I should be a mean coward, he cried, were I to give in to you in all things. Order other people about, not me, for I shall obey no longer. Furthermore I say, and lay me saying to your heart, I shall fight neither you nor any man about this girl. For those that take were those also that gave. But if all else is at my ship, you carry away nothing by force. Try that others may see. If you do, my spear shall be reddened with your blood. When they had quarreled thus angrily, they rose, and broke up the assembly at the ships of the Achaeans. The son of Peleus went back to his tents, and ships with the sons of Menoetius and his company, while Agamemnon drew a vessel into the water and chose a crew of 20 oarsmen. He escorted Chryseis on board, and sent moreover a hecatomb for the god, and Odysseus went as captain. These then went on board and sailed their ways over the sea. But the son of Atreus bade the people to purify themselves. So they purified themselves and cast their filth into the sea. They offered the hecatombs of bulls and goats without blemish on the seashore, and the smoke with the savor of their sacrifice rose curling towards the heavens. Thus they did busy themselves throughout the host. But Agamemnon did not forget the threat he had made Achilles, and called his trusty messengers and squires, Tathybius and Eurybates. Go, he said, to the tent of Achilles, son of Peleus. Take Briseis by the hand and bring her hither. If he will not give her, I shall come with others and take her, which will press him harder. He charged them straightly further and dismissed them, whereon they went on their way sorrowfully by the seaside, till they came to the tents and ships of the Myrmidons. They found Achilles, sitting by his tent and his ships, and ill-pleased was he when he beheld them. They stood fearfully, reverently before him, and never a word did they speak, but he knew them, and said, Welcome, heralds, messengers of gods and men, draw near. My quarrel is not with you, but with Agamemnon, who has sent you for the girl Briseis. Therefore, Patroclus, bring her, and give her to them. But let them be witnesses by the blessed gods, by mortal men, and by the fierceness of Agamemnon's anger, that if ever again there need to be a need of me to save the people from ruin, they shall seek it, and they shall not find. Agamemnon is mad with rage, and knows not how to look before and after, that the Achaeans may fight by their ships in safety. Patroclus did as his dear comrade had bidden him. He brought Briseis from the tent and gave her over to the heralds, who took her with them to the ships of the Achaeans, and the woman was loath to go. Then Achilles went all alone by the side of the hoar sea, weeping and looking upon the boundless waste of waters. He raised his hands in prayer to his immortal mother. Mother, he cried, you bore me doomed to live but a little season. Surely Zeus, who thunders from Olympus, might have made that little glorious. It is not so. Agamemnon, son of Atreus, has done me dishonor. and robbed me of my prize by force." As he spoke, he wept aloud, and his mother heard him, where she was sitting in the depths of the sea, hard by the old man, her father. Forthwith, she rose, as it were a grey mist out of the waves, sat down before him, and as he stood weeping, caressed him with her hand, and said, "My son, why are you weeping? What is it that grieves you? Keep it not from me, but tell me. That way we may know it together." Achilles drew a deep sigh and said, "You know it. Why tell you when you know it already? We went to Thebe, the strong city of Aetion, sacked it, and brought it hither the spoil. The sons of the Achaeans shared it duly amongst themselves, and chose lovely Chryseis as the meed of Agamemnon. But Chrysis, priest of Apollo, came to the ships of the Achaeans to free his daughter, and brought with him a great ransom. Moreover, he bore his hand at the scepter of Apollo, wreathed with suppliant's wreath, and he besought the Achaeans, but most of all the two sons of Atreus, who were the chiefs. Of the rest of the Achaeans with one voice were respecting the priest, and taking the ransom that he offered, but not so Agamemnon, who spoke fiercely to him, and sent him roughly away. So he went back in anger, and Apollo, who loved him dearly, heard his prayer. Then the gods sent a deadly dart upon the Argives, and the people died thick one on one another, for the arrows went every whither among the wide host of the Achaeans. At last a seer, the fullness of his knowledge, declared to us the oracles of Apollo, and I was myself first to say that we should appease him. Whereon the son of Atreus rose in anger, and threatened that which he has since done. The Achaeans are now taking the girl in a ship to Chrysae, and sending gifts of sacrifice to the god, but the heralds have just taken from my tent the daughter of Briseis, whom the Achaeans had awarded to myself. Help your brave son, therefore, if you are able. Go to Olympus, and if you have ever done him service in word or deed, employ the aid of Zeus. Oft times in my father's house I have heard you glory in that you alone of the immortals saved the son of Cronus from ruin, when the others, with Hera, Poseidon, and Pallas Athena, would have put him in bonds. It was you, goddess, who delivered him by calling to Olympus the 100-handed monster, whom the gods called Briareus, but men Aegeon, for he is stronger even than his father. When therefore he took the seat all glorious beside the son of Cronus, the other gods were afraid, and did not bind him. Go then to him, remind him of this, clasp his knee, and bid him to give succor to the Trojans. Let the Achaeans be hemmed in the sterns of their ships, and perish on the seashore, that they may reap what joy they may of their king, and that Agamemnon may rue his blindness in offering insult to the foremost of the Achaeans. Thetis wept and answered, My son, woe is me that I should have borne or suckled you. Would indeed that you had lived your span free from all sorrow at your ships, for it is all too brief. Alas, that you should be at once short of life, and long of sorrow above your peers. Woe, therefore, was the hour in which I bore you. Nevertheless, I will go to the snowy heights of Olympus, and tell this tale to Zeus, if he will hear our prayer. Meanwhile, stay where you are with your ships. Nurse your anger against the Achaeans, and hold aloof from fight. For Zeus went yesterday to Oceanus. Is it Oceanus or Oceanus? To a feast among the Ethiopians, and the other gods went with him. He will return to Olympus 12 days hence. I will then go to his mansion, paved with bronze, and I will beseech him. Nor do I doubt that I shall be able to persuade him. On this she left him, still furious at the loss of her that had been taken from him. Meanwhile, Odysseus reached Crisa from the hecatomb. When they had come inside the harbor, they furled the sails and laid them in the ship's hold. They slackened the forestays, lowered the mast into its place, and rowed the ship to the place where they would have her lie. There they cast out the mooring stones and made fast the hawsers. They then got out upon the seashore and landed to the hecatomb for Apollo. Chryseis also left the ship, and Odysseus led her to the altar to deliver her to the hands of her father. "Chryseis," said he, "King Agamemnon has sent me to bring back your child, and to offer sacrifice to Apollo on behalf of the Danaans, that we may propitiate the god, who has now brought so much sorrow upon the Argives." So saying, he gave the girl over to her father, which received her gladly. And they ranged the holy hecatomb all orderly round the altar of the god. They washed their hands and took up barley meal to sprinkle over the victims, while Chryseis lifted up his hands and prayed aloud on their behalf. "Hear me," he cried, "O god of the silver bow, that protectest Chrysa in the holy Scylla, the rulest Tenedos with thy might, even as thou didst hear me aforetime when I prayed, and didst press hardly upon the Achaeans. So hear me yet again, and stay this fearful pestilence from the Danaans." Thus he did pray, and Apollo heard his prayer. When he had done praying and sprinkling barley meal, they drew back the heads of the victims and killed and flayed them. They cut out the thigh bones, wrapped them round in 2 layers of fat, set some pieces of raw meat atop them, and then Chryseis laid them on the wood fire and poured wine over them, while the young men stood near with 5-pronged spits in their hands. When the thigh bones were burned, and they had tasted the inward meats, they cut the rest up small, put the pieces on spits, roasted them until they were done, and drew them off. Then when they had finished their work and the feast was ready, they ate it, and every man had his full share, so that they were all satisfied. As soon as they had enough to eat and drink, pages filled the mixing bowl with wine and water and handed it around, after giving every man his drink offering. Thus all day long the young men worshipped the god of song, hymning him and chanting joyous paean. And the god took pleasure in their voices. But when the sun went down and it came on dark, they laid themselves down to sleep by the stern cables of the ship. And when the child of morning, rosy-fingered dawn, appeared, they again set sail for the host of the Achaeans. Apollo sent them a fair wind, so they raised their mast and hoisted their white sails aloft. As the sail bellied with the wind, and the ship flew through the deep blue water, and the foam hissed against her bows as she sped onward. When they reached the wide-stretching host of the Achaeans, they drew the vessel ashore, high and dry upon the sands, set her strong props beneath, and went their ways to their own tents and ships. But Achilles abode at his ships and nursed his anger. He went not to the honorable assembly, and sallied not forth to fight, but gnawed at his own heart, pining for battle and the war cry. Now after 12 days the immortal gods came back to the body of Olympus, and Zeus led the way. Thetis was not unmindful of the charge her son had laid upon her, so she rose from under sea, and went through great heaven with early morning to Olympus, where she found the mighty son of Cronus, sitting all alone upon the topmost ridges. She sat herself down before him, and with her left hand seized his knees, while with her right she caught him under the chin, and besought him, saying, "Father Zeus, if I ever did you service in word or deed among the immortals, hear my prayer, and do honor to my son, whose life is to be cut short and so early. King Agamemnon had dishonored him, by taking his prize and keeping her. Honor him then yourself, Olympian lord of consul, and grant victory to the Trojans, till the Achaeans give my son his due, and load him with riches in requital. Zeus sat for a while, silent, and without a word, but Thetis still kept firm hold of his knees, and besought him a second time. Incline your head, said she, and promise me surely, or else deny me, for you have nothing to fear, that I may learn how greatly you disdain me. At this Zeus was much troubled and answered, how do I give Zeus a voice? I need a big booming voice. Does this work? No. I shall have trouble if you set me quarreling with Hera, for she will provoke me with her taunting speeches. Even now she's always railing at me before the other gods and accusing me of giving aid to the Trojans. Go back now, lest she should find out. I will consider the matter, and will bring it about as you wish. See, I incline my head that you may believe. This is the most solemn token I can give any god. I never recall my word, or deceive, or fail to do what I say, when I have nodded my head. As she spoke, the son of Cronus bowed his dark brows, and the ambrosial locks swayed on his immortal head, till vast Olympus reeled. When the pair had thus laid their plans, they parted, Zeus to his own house, while the goddess quitted the splendor of Olympus, and plunged into the depths of the sea. The gods rose from their seats before the coming of their sire. Not one of them dared to remain sitting, but all stood as he came among them. There then he took his seat. But Hera, when she saw him, knew that he had the old merman's daughter, silver-footed Thetis, had been hatching mischief. So she at once began to unbraid him. "Chexter," she cried, "which of the gods have you been taking into your counsels now? You are always settling matters in secret behind my back, and have never yet told me, if you could help it, one word of your intentions." "Hera," replied the sire of the gods and men, weary with his marriage, "you must not expect to be informed of all my counsels. You are my wife, but you would find it hard to understand them. When it is proper for you to hear, there is no one, god or man, who will be told sooner. But when I keep a matter to myself, you must not pry or ask questions." "Dread son of Cronus," answered Hera, "what are you talking about? I pry and ask questions? Never! I let you have your own way in everything. Still, I have a strong misgiving that the old merman's daughter, Thetis, has been talking you over, for she is with you, and had hold of your knees this same morning. I believe, therefore, you have been promising her to give glory to Achilles, and to kill much people at the ships of the Achaeans." "Wife," said Zeus, "I could do nothing but you suspect me, and find it out. You will take nothing by it, for I shall only dislike you the more, and it will go harder for you. Granted that it is as you say. I mean I have it so. Sit down and hold your tongue as I bid you. For I once begin to lay my hands about you, though all of heaven were on your side, it would profit you nothing." On this, Hera was frightened, because he basically was like, "Woman, you're gonna make me a wife beater." And we all know Zeus is clearly a man of double standards, saying that, he's not deceitful, but he will do omissions. Oh, hell yes. And historically, he's been very faithful. So she curbed her stubborn will and sat down in silence, but the heavenly beings were disquieted throughout the house of Zeus, till the cunning workman Hephaestus began to try and pacify his mother Hera. "It will be intolerable," he said, if you two fall to wrangling and setting heaven in an uproar. about a pack of mortals. If such ill counsels are to prevail, we shall have no pleasure at our banquet. Let me then advise my mother, and she must herself know that it will be better, to make friends with my dear father Zeus, lest he again scold her and disturb our feast. If the Olympian thunderer wants to hurl us all from our seats, he can do so, for he is far the strongest. So give him fair words, and he will then soon be in good humor with us. As he spoke, he took a double cup of nectar and placed it in his mother's hands. Cheer up, my dear mother, he said, and make the best of it. I love you dearly, and should be very sorry to see you get a thrashing. Jesus. However grieved I might be, I could not help you, for there is no standing against Zeus. Once before, when I was trying to help you, he caught me by the foot and flung me from the heavenly threshold. All day long, from morn to eve, I was falling, till at sunset I came to ground at the island of Lemnos, and there I lay, with very little life left in me, till the Sintians came and tended to me. Hera smiled at this, and she smiled and took the cup from her son's hands. Then Hephaestus drew sweet nectar from the mixing bowl, and served it round among the gods, going from left to right, and the blessed gods laughed out aloud applause as they saw him bustling about the heavenly mansion. Thus through the livelong day to the going down from the sun they feasted, and everyone had his full share, so that all were satisfied. Apollo struck his lyre, and the muses lifted up their sweet voices, calling and answering one another. But when the sun's glorious light had faded, they went home to bed, each in his own abode, which lame Hephaestus, with his consummate skill, had fashioned for them. So Zeus, the Olympian lord of thunder, hied him to the bed in which he always slept. And when he had got onto it, he went to sleep, with Hera, the golden throne, by his side. And now we're on to book 2. These are long chapters. We are at 47 minutes. But I did do a fair amount of talking before all of this too. So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to keep this brief at the end here. Let me know what you guys thought. If I've butchered anything for pronunciation, feel free to point it out in the comments below. I will be trying to rectify each of those mistakes as I go along, but until then I will probably fuddle on through. I hope you have a good one, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.